My husband and I found out that we were expecting our first child last spring. Halfway through the second trimester of my pregnancy, I found out that I had tested positive for COVID.
It's crazy how quick it happened. She tested positive, and within 7 days we were hospitalized.
The treatment that I was gonna need was something that was really rare. The doctor that was calling the hospitals, he was looking as far as like San Antonio, and there was nothing available. There were waiting lists everywhere. 8 hours later, he called my husband back and he said, "Can you get her to LSU Ochsner in Shreveport to be admitted as an ECMO patient?" And I didn't know what ECMO was. It just sounded really scary that your body would completely shut down and this machine would oxygenate your blood for you.
At the time, we felt like she was headed towards the direction of needing ECMO. She certainly didn't need it when she came over, but just based on looking at her trajectory and also with our experience of having taken care of 2 pregnant mothers prior to her, we kind of knew what the trajectory was going to be, and we felt like that's where she was going to ultimately end up. The first step of putting somebody on ECMO is putting a cannula in. Cannula is actually hooked up to a circuit, and this is actually an example of one of the types of circuits that we use. In somebody like Serena's case, this is basically replacing the function of her lungs.
Prior to going on ECMO, laying there was the first memory I have of Heather.
We definitely form a strong bond. She focused on the end result, getting off ECMO and getting baby Isaac here safely. She's just that mama bear that was willing to do any and everything for her family.
The last thing I remember before being cannulated was her holding my hand. That's when I realized that the people who were taking care of me were going above the call that they had signed up for. On October 19th, my son suddenly wasn't receiving enough oxygen while in the womb.
We were kind of seeing some concerning things. The baby was showing more and more signs of having distress.
The OB was there, and she went to Dr. Eaton and said, "We've got to do an emergency C-section." There was a high risk that I wasn't going to survive. There was the unknown of whether Isaac was going to survive, because at that point he was only 26 weeks.
By separating the 2 of them, they both had a better chance at survival than continuing to try to manage them both together.
I do remember having thoughts prior to going in, if I don't make it, God, please let Isaac make it, because I know Joel's going to be a really good dad. The surgery was successful. Isaac came out not requiring to be intubated, and they had told me that I did hemorrhage.
The highlight of that day was seeing Joel be able to see Isaac after he was delivered.
And I'll never forget sitting there and just zoned in on Isaac, looking at him and just being in so much awe of what God has done for us over the course of these last couple of months. And I look over to my left, and I realize that in this comm, just over the left of my shoulder, there's another team of about 20 people that are still trying to save Serena's life.
I hadn't met Isaac yet. I didn't get to hold him. I didn't get to see him in person for the whole first month of him being born.
So she got better very quickly after that, was able to come off ECMO within just a couple of weeks. She was up walking around again within just a few days of having the C-section.
They put me in a normal labor and delivery room. I was hopeful, excited, and I got to meet Isaac for the first time. For a moment, I do feel that euphoric excitement that I'm holding my son, but internally I feel pain. I remember in that moment feeling very weak and just asking the nurse to grab him because I couldn't hold on to him any longer. The medical team at St. Mary rushed in And they said, Serena, your lung is down. Your lung is collapsed. From the first moment that I was hospitalized, that was at September 28th, and when I finally got to be officially discharged from all hospital stays, it was December 3rd. It was another 7 weeks of me being home without Isaac. I had to remind myself daily that he was in the place that he was the safest. My interactions with Ochsner, what I thought was ending, actually had a whole new season of me being introduced to Isaac's team. Hearing them talk about how sweet Isaac is and how smart and strong he is and how they've been praying for me and how they have been taking care of Joel while I've been in the hospital, and again, just an extension of what I had already experienced. It made my heart happy to know that Isaac's care was the same, if not even better, than what I was getting. They said that he would come home on oxygen. We were scared. There was a whole new list of equipment we had to learn how to use, and they had set up an overnight stay for us to monitor him under the care of the nurses. And we did that and felt pretty good about it, and then we brought him home. This is the name tag that was on Isaac's NICU bed the whole time he was there. This is what he came home in. This is a painting of the very first picture that we took together as a family.
Our goal is to take the absolute best care of the patient and the family while they're there.
I would recommend that anyone who was in a life or death situation to seek the care and the attention of those at LSU Ochsner, because they not only have the equipment, but they have the compassion and the means to think outside the box and find a way to make sure that you get to come home safely, like they did for me.